Ito ang Broad Streamcast Communicators, ang naiiba at kakaibang plataforma sa digital broadcast. Mula Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao hanggang sa iba't ibang dako ng mundo. Broad Streamcast Communicators, ang sandigan ng sambayanan mula sa walang labis at walang kulang na pagbabalita, paglilingkod, maglalahad ng mga mapagbuong komentaryo at usaping pambayan para sa kapakanan ng karamihan. Broad Streamcast Communicators, tuwirang maglilingkod ngayon hanggang sa susunod na henerasyon. Buhay Online, chikahan at kaalamang pangkabuhayan. Ating tunghayan, pakinggan at tuklasin ang mga pangyayari at kaganapan sa mundo ng online. Buhay Online, chikahan at kaalamang pangkabuhayan. Alamin ang pinaka-latest trends mula sa trabaho at kung hanggang saan na ang narating ng teknolohiyang ito. At ngayon, narito na ang ating host, ang ating TechieMommy, si Jaye C. Bautista.
Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Magandang umaga, magandang happy Monday sa lahat. And I trust that everyone had a good restful weekend sa mga nakapagpahinga na kahit na nag-work from home na araw-araw ay work day, kagaya ko, ay nagkaroon ng chance makapagpahinga. Actually, yes, this weekend was a very good weekend for me because I was able to actually rest for 2 days. I haven't had like a reprieve of work ng 2 araw, but I had the chance to go to the barrio dito sa Pampanga. Naimbita kaming magpunta ni Tita Feli lakap Hecomo sa kanyang farm. Doon kami nag-spend ng Sunday lunch. Nakapag-ano ng fresh air at least, right? Of course, social distancing, nakamaskara pa rin kami pero sa pagkakain, right? But it was fresh air talaga. And of course, nature was all around. It was really a relaxing weekend for me and my family here in Pampanga. But happy Monday everyone. At sa mga nagpunta sa beach or nagbiyahe, sana you guys observe the health and safety protocols po. Kasi talaga we really want to achieve a herd community. Magpa-vaccinate na yung mga magpapa-vaccinate. Kung may chance kayo talaga, please just have yourselves vaccinated. Hindi na nga iniisip, pinipili ngayon dapat yung gamot eh. Kung ano nang available, let's get ourselves vaccinated so we can squash this virus and achieve yung herd community na kailangan nating ma-achieve para na vaccinate na ang karamihan, right? And I can't see the names of the people watching, but hello, welcome to the show sa ating mga kaibigan at ating mga nagpa-patronize at nagsusupport sa ating programa dito sa Broad Streamcast Communicators. Itong ating show na Buhay Online. Of course, we are already also on YouTube. For those who missed the live telecasts that we do, the live stream broadcasts that we do, you can actually view the past episodes on the YouTube channel of Broad Streamcast Communicators kasi nasa YouTube na kami. Immediately after our live stream program here on Facebook, ay nata-transfer na kami sa YouTube po. So, maraming salamat sa mga sumusuporta. But last week we talked about, for the past 2 weeks, we've been talking about how the Filipinos per se, and also of course everyone is coping with this pandemic situation. Kasi parang in retrospect, 1 year after, we're still in the pandemic, we're still struggling to survive in this pandemic, at pinag-usapan natin kung ano yung ating pwedeng magawa or paano tayo nabubuhay or paano tayo nagtatry na mabuhay ng new normal dito sa pandemya na to. At ay pinag-usapan natin ay yung mga trabahong available, kung ano yung ating magawa, o yung mga bagong negosyong mapatatayo natin sa pandemya. At this week, ang papag-usapan natin, kasi I had emails and texts asking about it, is how the COVID situation has changed the education processes and the education all over the world, right? Hello there, Tita Agnes! Nakita tayo kahapon, sandali lang. Diyos ko, napakadali. Pagtingin ko, wala ka na. Pag eat and run si Tita Agnes. Anyway, Tita Agnes Lakap, thank you for always supporting. It was nice to see you yesterday po. But anyway, so going back to what I was saying, no? The COVID-19 has resulted in schools shut all across the world. And of course, sa atin, very real itong realization na to, because mahigit na isang taon, hindi na bubukas ang normal education or going to school, actual school para mag-aral. Hindi pa rin tayo pinayagang mag face-to-face learning, right? Globally, over 1.2 billion children are out of the classroom. Okay? As a result, education has changed talaga dramatically. Talaga naman, drastically. In fact, nga, nung nag-change ito, hindi pa tayo ready at the time to transition from face-to-face education to online. There were some glitches. There were some, actually, hanggang ngayon, inaayos pa rin natin yan. Ang anak ko, nag-aaral online, and he's really having a bit of a hard time coping with online education as opposed to face-to-face learning. Kasi inaayos pa rin talaga ang mga quirks or mga glitches dahil marami pa rin tayong inaaral or inaayos regarding curriculum and regarding the procedures and the ways to teach and learn. And we're still also training some teachers na mag-transition from face-to-face to online. Okay? As a result, the change was dramatic and drastic, with a distinctive rise of e-learning, whereby teaching is undertaken remotely and on digital platforms. Kasi nga, yung mga ibang teachers, diba, hindi pa sila tech savvy, at the same time, kailangan nilipat lahat ng lessons and curriculum digital na. And yung mga iba naman, hindi pa marunong gumawa ng PowerPoint or to use Zoom as a platform. This year has seen a lot of that as trying times for teachers and educators, and of course the students as well. Research suggests that online learning has been shown to increase retention of information and take less time, meaning the changes coronavirus has caused might be here to stay. Kagaya nung sinabi ko the other day, the past few days and weeks about remote work, parang nakikita pa rin natin, according to analysts at mga nag-try to analyze, baka yung online education, even after the pandemic, mag-continue some parts siguro, partly online or ang tawag dyan ay blended learning, right? While countries are at different points in their COVID-19 infection rates, some countries worse than before, diba? Ayun nga, dyan, kagaya na nangyayari sa India ngayon, di ba nakakaiyak isipin na 1 year after, some places have gotten worse, right? And tayo rin nga, di ba, 1 year after, kahit na lockdown na tayo ng lockdown, ganun pa rin, 7,000 pa rin infections sa isang araw. Ang inaasahan na lang natin itong pagbabakuna na maka-achieve tayo ng herd community of immunized people para konti na lang yung at halos hindi na magkakaroon ng sakit or mahahawaan, right? Pero like I said ulit, if you get vaccinated, it doesn't mean you can be nonchalant and not care anymore about the health protocols and not wear masks or not clean your hands. No, you are still susceptible to being infected, right? Okay? So ngayon, habang nga ang iba't ibang bansa are trying to cope with the virus situation, okay, there are currently more than 1.2 billion children in 186 countries affected by school closures due to the pandemic. Eh ngayon nga sa Taiwan, okay, because I teach English as a second language also, aside from my journalistic duties and my marketing communication jobs and works and projects. I like teaching actually, and I've been teaching children and people. I teach from 3 years old to adults to and professionals, and and you know, and the schools, of course, yung pagkasarado ng schools have affected a lot of people. Eh, ang Taiwan nga, di ba, sila yung pinaka-successful sa pag-quash nitong virus. Lately, with the other day, 80 infections pa lang, nag-sort of lockdown na sila medyo, right? Sabi nga ng estudyante ko, the government didn't mandate a lockdown, but it was the Citizens Act of Taiwan who took it upon themselves to lock themselves in their homes again, not go out. So, tapos yung mga eskwela, hindi nila pinapasok mga anak nila kasi I think 100 infections lang because it's the new variant of the virus that's spreading in Taiwan right now. So, parang lockdown sila. Self-imposed lockdown ulit sila. Walang makikita niya sa mga postings dyan, yung Taiwan, the streets are empty again. Walang tao sa kalye because they really refuse to go out till they kill the virus again. Eh tayo kasi hindi naman natin magawa yun na talagang zero tao sa kalye because nga yung economy natin ang namamatay. But, we've been trying, but still, bababa ng konti, na naman magsa-search. So, yan ang ginawa nila sa Taiwan. Singapore also, today, they have 300 infections daw sa country nila, sa buong country. So, nag-lockdown sila, schools are closed, okay, and some businesses, the restaurants, not allowed to go to the restaurants again, sila. So, nag-lockdown na rin yung Singapore. Because, para magkaroon sila ulit para bumaba ulit yung, hindi na kumalat ulit yung virus, hindi na dumami pa sa 300, right? Instead, bumaba. Ganon kasi yung pag-lockdown di ba? Umpisa pa lang, dapat ganon na. Pero, yun na nga, tayo, we've been trying for a year, I don't know what's happening, but we can't achieve that, right? I don't know, tigas ang ulo natin, or I don't know. Hindi ko na alam kung kanino i-attribute yung failure natin to do that, right? So, with this sudden shift away from the classroom, okay, going back to online education or distance learning, in many parts of the globe, some are wondering, bakit the adoption of online learning, kung bakit isipin natin na baka sakaling yung online learning mag-persist pa rin even after the pandemic, and how such a shift would impact the worldwide education market, right? Kasi even before COVID-19, there was already high growth and adoption in education technology, all right? With global edtech investments reaching about US dollars 18.66 billion in 2019, and the overall market for online education projected to reach 350 billion by the year 2025. Whether it is language apps, virtual tutoring, video conferencing tools, or online learning software, there has been a significant surge in usage during this COVID-19. I wish I could show you this video of a classroom in China during coronavirus, but baka bukas, let me see if I can put it right. So how is the education sector responding to COVID-19? Okay, tanong. Anong response ng education sector sa mundo? In response to significant demands, many online learning platforms are offering free access to their services. Totoo yan. Including platforms like BYJU's. Ang BYJU is a Bangalore-based educational technology and online tutoring firm founded in 2011. So itong si BYJU, nag-offer sila ng free access to platform nila para pag-aralan, which is now the world's most highly valued edtech company. Diba? Since announcing free live classes on its Think and Learn app, BYJUs has seen a 200% increase in the number of new students using its product. O ayan, mga eskwela, tingnan niyo yan. Look up niyo yung BYJU. Nag-o-offer sila ng free platform. Diba? Kasi yan ang problema natin, no? Sa pag-transition natin, hindi na research mabuti, hindi masyado pang ready kung saan dadaling platform yung pagtuturo. Siyempre, yung mga ibang eskwela, ang ginamit, Zoom. Iba naman, I forgot na yung isa anak ko, kung ano pa yung platform na yun. But then, yan, may mga nag-o-offer ng free platforms for education technology, right? So since announcing free live classes on its Think and Learn, yung BYJU has seen 200% increase in the number of new students using its product. Okay? 10-cent classroom, meanwhile, ito naman, 10-cent, TENCENT, Chinese to, I think. Matagal na rin tong 10-cent classroom, has been used extensively since mid-February. Itong 10-cent yata, ito yung nandun ng class-in I think. After the Chinese government instructed 250 million full-time students to resume their studies through online platforms, okay? This resulted in the largest online movement in the history of education, with approximately 730,000 or 81% of mga K-12 na estudyante attending classes via 10-cent K-12 online school sa Wuhan. Ito yung sa China, right? Other companies are bolstering capabilities to provide a one-stop shop for teachers and students. Ito naman, okay, please, makinig tayo, academe. For example, itong LARK, L-A-R-K, nakikita natin ito nag-i-intrude palagi sa Facebook offering their platform, their learning platform, na hindi, para silang Zoom, no? For example, LARK. LARK is a Singapore-based collaboration suite initially developed by ByteDance as an internal tool to meet its own exponential growth. It began offering teachers and students unlimited video conferencing time, auto-translation capabilities, real-time co-editing of project work, and smart calendar scheduling. Ayan yan, among other maraming mga features nila. To do so quickly and in time of crisis, ang LARK ramped up its global server infrastructure and engineering capabilities to ensure reliable connectivity. All right. Ang Alibaba, tumulong din, okay? Alibaba's distance learning solution, meron din silang remote learning solution, Ang tawag doon sa Alibaba's platform is Ding Talk, D-I-N-G Talk. It had to prepare for a similar influx. To support large-scale remote work, the platform tapped Alibaba Cloud, di ba? Alibaba, ang laki ng network niyan di ba? Ng global expanse, right? Teka, itong aking... Alright. So, nag-hi ka na lang sana. Teka, mag-hi mo yung asawa ko sa lahat. Hi. Ay, hindi kita. There's my husband, right? We're talking about online education. Okay, very good. Alright. So, yeah. So, going back to what I was saying, ayan tuloy, nawala ko. So, yun na nga, yung Alibaba, meron silang Ding Talk, alright? That supports large-scale remote work. The platform tapped Alibaba Cloud to deploy more than 100,000 new cloud servers in just 2 hours last month, alright? Setting a new record for rapid capacity expansion, alright? Okay. Tapos some school districts are forming unique partnerships, like the one between the Los Angeles Unified School District and PBS SoCal KCET, TV to offer local educational broadcasts with separate channels focused on different ages and a range of digital options. Iba kasi hindi lahat may internet, hindi lahat may computer. Media organizations such as the BBC are also powering virtual learning. Bite-Size Daily, ito mga mga newspaper, mga news, launched on April 20 last year, is offering 14 weeks of curriculum-based learning for kids across the UK, with celebrities like Manchester City Football nagturo sila. Yung mga celebrities, ginagamit nila influencers, teaching some of the content, okay? So, pakita natin ang, well, the impact talaga of global education in the world is very big, okay? Figures refer to learners enrolled at pre-primary, primary school, lower secondary, and upper secondary levels of education, as well as tertiary education levels yan affected, okay? Alright? Tingnan naman natin ang sa Pilipinas, right? Kung paano tayo naapektuhan. Well, distant learning has become the new norm for Philippine education, di ba? Talaga naman. Traditional education systems around the world became one of the early casualties ng COVID-19 ng 2020 talaga. Yan ang isa sa mga unang naapektuhan ng pandemya. At hindi natin ito maikakaila dahil talaga namang na-disrupt, really, na-disrupt. Okay? Na-disrupt talaga ang ating pag-aaral, right? So, hold on a second, please. I'm having some bit of technical thingies, okay? With the risk of transmission kasi high among students, ang ating presidente talaga ay hindi niya talaga inalaw na pumasok ang ating mga kabataan sa eskwela. Kasi siyempre, teachers and students altogether baka ma-virusan. So, hindi sinara kaagad yung eskwela, March pa lang. In the Philippines, right? Philippines suspended classes in Metro Manila from March 11 due to the threat of the virus, right, in 2020. Tapos, mula nung March 11, inumpisahan lang yun, March 11 to March 14 ng 2020, isara yung mga eskwela. Subsequent suspensions were announced in different parts of the country, with many elementary and high schools canceling final exams and commencement ceremonies. Totoo, naapektuhan yung mga graduation kasi, na yun konti na lang sarado na yung school. Pero, ang minabuti ng ating Pangulo, na yun na nga, noong March 22, nag-lockdown na yung buong country. Nasabit or nasama yung yung mga graduation, right? Yung pagtatapos. Sa college level naman, that time, most higher education institutions in the country decided to end the semester early because of the pandemic. Yun nga yung pinasay yung mga estudyante. Like yung anak ko, my gosh, nakapasok lang siya ng January of last year ng isang month. Hindi pa buo yung January na yan sa Ateneo. Tapos sinara na yung eskwela, hindi na sila makapasok. Tapos pinasa nila. I don't think that was a good idea that they passed everyone. Diba? Ang grade nila passing, walang number actually. The grade was passing. Pinas sila, hindi naman nila inaral yung mga lessons na yon. I don't think that was fair and that was right to do because they missed their chance at getting educated. Tsaka yung materials na dapat nilang inaral sa panahon na yon. Pinasa na lang. Hindi ako talaga pabor doon sa nangyari na. On top of it, of course, is the mahal na tuition, right? Na feeling mo, sayang yung binayad mo kasi hindi naman pumasok. Wala naman kaming refund. Wala namang refund na binigay. Kaloka talaga yon. But anyway, so that happened. And still, of course, and still, online education pa rin. Feeling ko dapat also, binabaan nila yung tuition. Kasi mayroong things naman na face-to-face na hindi nangyayari. Like yung may library fee na 5,000 on top of it all. My son can learn this online, right? Anyway, so yun lang. Yun ang ko dyan. Hinanakit ko dyan sa online education na yan. Na of course, ganun pa rin yung tuition. Pero tsaka yung hindi mga naaral, hindi naman nila binigyan ng credit yung fact na the kids only went to study for 1 month nung last sem ng first year of my son's college education. But anyway, yung college level ngayon, most of the schools closed na lang din or pinaagang pagtatapos yung mga estudyante. Several universities and colleges also adopted a no-fail policy in consideration of the situation. Yun na nga yun, no-fail. Pinas lahat kahit di inaral. Hindi yan talaga tama. But the early end to the school year was just the beginning of a major overhaul in the entire education system in the country. Talaga naman. As early as April, the Department of Education, yung DepEd, started crafting its basic education learning continuity plan to ensure the safe reopening of the school year, initially scheduled dapat June 1. But of course, that never happened. All right? Bumabalik pa. Na, that school never happened. Nasaan si, ano? Oh, but hindi mo pinapunta rito. Hello, everyone. Okay. The continued increase in cases, however, made it clear that schools will have to reopen at a later date. Hindi nangyari yung pagbubukas ng eskwela. Going back to now, which really, hindi pa rin bukas ang mga eskwela, right? And really talaga, April, they crafted the education learning continuity plan na hanggang ngayon ay pinapagbuti pa rin kasi hindi pa rin talaga down pat, hindi pa pulido. Okay, hindi pa rin pulido. The continued increase in cases, however, made it clear that schools will have to reopen at a later date. Yun na nga. At tapos, diba, Duterte even announced that he would not allow schools to reopen until a vaccine is available in the country. Well, okay, fast forward to that, we already have the vaccine, we already had the vaccine, but hindi pa rin nagbukas ang mga eskwelahan. Right? Hindi pa rin. And talks are having it that maybe sa August daw mag-face-to-face learning na. But the thing about it is, okay, diba, last year nga, some schools approved already online education. Excuse me? Hello? Hi. So, pasensya na, merong bisitang dumating. Sorry. This is live and we're broadcasting from my home. That's why may mga taong umi-extra curricular. Anyway, so yeah, yun na nga. Sinabi ng presidente natin, hindi mag-open ang eskwela unless may vaccine na. Well, DepEd, however, clarified na the president was only referring to face-to-face classes. Its plan, it said, was to implement distance learning modalities that would enable students to continue with their education in the safety of their homes. Nagkonsulta naman yung DepEd sa mga various stakeholders. DepEd said classes in elementary and high school might begin on August 24 in compliance with the law that allows the reopening of schools only between June to August every year. Okay? While some private elementary and high schools were able to reopen classes on that date, the start of the new school year in public schools was later deferred to October 5 to give officials more time to implement the blended learning setup. So yun na nga, ang blended learning is merong online, merong face-to-face, konti siguro, tapos may modules pa rin, diba? Yun ang blended learning. The government this year passed a law allowing the president, upon recommendation of the DepEd chief, to set the opening of classes to a later date as the country is still under a state of emergency or calamity. I mean, really, because we are still having this surge, right? So, ano pa rin? So, there's baka i-defer pa hindi October. October sana okay na, right? Yung August naging October. Well, let's hope that because may vaccine na at navavaccinate na. Yun na nga pag na-achieve natin yung herd community ng immunity, baka pwede na, di ba? Balik. Pero dapat ma-injection na din lahat, right? Blended learning, okay? Let's talk about blended learning ulit, okay? The start of the school year eventually pushed through last time under the so-called blending learning setup. Yun na nga, di ba? Ito yung, this is how our kids are learning nowadays, blended, which combine different distance learning modalities such as the use of printed modules sa mga lugar na walang internet, sa mga bahay na wala silang internet or even the capacity or capability na magka-internet o magkaroon ng laptop or even a desktop sa bahay nila. Yun ang nagkaroon ng blended learning gamit ang printed modules and materials delivered through television, di ba, or radio, tsaka sa internet nga. Radio, TV, modules, okay? Online, tsaka hindi. Sabi ni Education Secretary Leonor Briones declared victory during the opening of the classes this year, citing the months of preparation that made the shift to distance learning possible. Hindi naman lahat nag-agree with the declaration, di ba? Kasi talaga naman marami pa ring reklamo about it. Critics noted that millions of students opted not to enroll this school year because of the virus. Totoo yan. And this is what I said during my talk before about uh, online life na naapektuhan. Totoo yan. A lot of parents decided not to enroll their kids. In fact, diba, my own son alone, sat it out for one sem tung second year college niya. He didn't enroll the first semester of this school year because he wanted to sit it out because nga hindi naging effective para sa kanya nung nag-intersession, nag-summer session siya online, and hindi naman daw sila masyadong natuto, tsaka yung materials parang, and it was very hard because they only saw the teacher like once a week or something, and even now sometimes they don't even see the teacher. It's like recorded videos or self-study because they give you materials to study and work on like for days. Walang physical coordination, or yung siguro yung, well, like I said, it depends rin talaga sa learner, pero it's hard. Some people can't cope with that, yung walang interaction na personal, right? With a teacher or with your classmates when you're working on a project. Ayun, naka-Zoom sila or whatever. Iba yung nag-uusap-usap kayo personal para mag-coordinate sa project nyo eh. It's really, really hindi pa down pat talaga, hindi pulido. Okay? The latest enrollment data showed dito sa Philippines that only 25.3 million students enrolled in public and private elementary schools this year, 2021, down from over 27 million student population last year. Yun nga, 3 million ang hindi nag-enroll. Over 800 private elementary and high schools have temporarily stopped operations due to low enrollment. Yan talaga. Yung mga iba nag-suffer kasi nga konti lang ang nag-aral. Tama naman din kasi, like, yun na nga, di ba? Ayokong pagsisihan yung fact na in-enroll ko yung anak ko sa Ateneo, pero may mga reklamo about it too, kasi nga, nahihirapan sila. Okay? In college, various groups raised concerns over the possibility of students dropping out due to the pandemic. Yep, may mga impending na ganyan. The Commission on Higher Education, or yung CHED, has yet to release the enrollment data for the current school year. Okay, let's talk about face-to-face classes, okay? Last December, Duterte approved the pilot implementation of face-to-face classes in low-risk areas, dapat nung January. Pero according to DepEd, the traditional face-to-face learning is still vital to the development of children and would address the issue of connectivity and lack of focus and interaction among learners. Totoo naman eh. Yan ang pinaka-hurdle ng online education eh. Yung focus ng estudyante nawawala sa pag-aaral lang. Kasi nga, ang environment mo, kwarto mo, o kaya sa kusina ka nag-aaral, o sa ng bahay mo. Alam mong bahay mo yun eh, hindi conducive to learning. O nga, fine. Yung mga nakaka-afford, they've made, like I said, yung workplace tsaka yung study place nila conducive to learning by simulating a study room, or yun nga, a workplace. Pero psychologically, diba, yun nagkaroon na effect sa mga bata ito, sa mga nag-aaral na wala ako sa eskwela, nandito lang ako sa kwarto ko nag-aaral, kaya pwede yung pahiga-higa, kumakain habang nagle-lessons, or nanonood ng Netflix, or nagbe-video games in between, kasi nga, online ka eh, you can open many windows, hindi mo naman pwedeng bantayan, o hindi naman nababantayan ng eskwela, kung anong ginagawa ng estudyante niya. Some schools, online schools, don't even require their students to go on cam. Hindi mandated yun na, oy, dapat kita namin kayo kung anong ginagawa nyo. I mean, my own son alone, sabi niya, we don't really have to show our faces. We're not asked to, we're not required to. It's an option. If you want to be seen, it's fine. Yun na nga, and so doing yun, yung distraction nangyayari, tsaka yung less focus on the lessons eh. An initial 1,100 schools were nominated by the DepEd regional offices for the conduct of the pilot activity. Ito nga yung face-to-face supposedly. CHED likewise started inspecting tertiary institutions that are retrofitting their campuses for the possible conduct of limited face-to-face classes. Okay. But on December 26, Duterte recalled his approval for the limited face-to-face classes. Tinan mo, December 15, sinabi niya yon, baka mayroong pilot thing. Binawi niya nung December 26 pagkatapos ng Pasko. Alam ko kung bakit, di ba? After Christmas holidays, nag-surge yung mga infections, di ba? Dahil parang nagwala ang mga tao sa freedom nila nung holiday season na sige-sige, party-party, social gathering, lahat-lahat. So, ayan, nagalit ng presidente, binawi ang limited face-to-face classes, citing the threat of a new variant of the coronavirus. Sabi ng DepEd, it would follow the president's order and would suspend its plan. Yun na nga, suspend naman talaga. Okay? So up to now, suspended pa rin, okay? Suspended pa rin yung face-to-face learning, right? To date, okay? That's the latest on that. So that's the Philippine situation, okay? Well, okay. There's a changing education imperative kasi it's clear that the pandemic has utterly disrupted the education system all over the world. Okay. Could the move to online learning be the catalyst to create a new, more effective method of educating students? Well, while some worry that the hasty nature of the transition online may have hindered the goal, others plan to make e-learning part of the new normal, which is, Philippines. All of us have to really, there's nothing we can do except to embrace the fact that part of the new normal is online education or distance learning, okay? We've already experienced naman the benefits of online learning. Yun na nga. We don't have to go to the school. The students don't have to commute. Pero yun nga, meron din kasi mga concerns, right? The importance of disseminating knowledge is highlighted through COVID-19, okay? Major world events are often an inflection point for rapid innovation. A clear example is the rise of e-commerce, di ba? Pagtapos ng SARS. While we have yet to see whether this will apply to e-learning after COVID-19, it is one of the few sectors where investment has not dried up. What has been made clear through this pandemic is the importance of disseminating the right information, okay? Disseminating knowledge across borders, companies, and all parts of society. If online learning technology can play a role here, it is incumbent upon all of us to explore the full potential of education online, right? Ito pang isang problema dito sa Philippines, itong online education natin, right? Because technology nga plays such an important role in this pandemic, education is included. Ang ating problema, yan, itong online learning, right? Dun sa mga eskwela na pwede nila yung mga estudyante na mostly have computers or may internet. Ang problema is the connectivity, right? Our internet is slow, right? Hindi pa rin tayo up to par, okay? All right? Ang UCLA or OOKLA, right? Ito yung nagsi-speed test, di ba? If you run your speed test on your computers. This is an article that came out regarding why is the internet so slow in the Philippines. Bakit nga ba? Diba? Bakit mabagal ang Philippines na internet? Well, from last year actually, it's improved a lot. Binigyan na yan ng ultimatum ng presidente last year na pabilisan ng mga internet connection kasi nga yung online education. But the speed test before conducted last year, my God, kulelat tayo super, right? Last year, it was conducted, okay? The Philippines is on the lower ranks of the global index in terms of average mobile and broadband speeds. We clocked in at a snail pace of 16.44 Mbps. Tingnan ko nga kung Teka, let me see if I can show you that. Where was that? Hindi ko ba yan pinakita dito? Let me see if I can show it. Okay. Where is that? Speed. Let me see. Oh, there you go. There you go. I got it. Ayan. Tingnan nyo itong results, ha? Yan, kapatid ko. Oh, there, look at it. My gosh. All right. We clocked in at a snail's pace of 16.44 Mbps for mobile downloads, placing us at the 119th spot out of 139, super baba, and 25.34 Mbps for broadband, landing us at the 106th spot out of 174. Compare that to the magical speeds of South Korea's 113.01 Mbps for mobile and Singapore's 218 Mbps for broadband. And try not to be jealous with the, uh, you know, with the others. Pero grabe, diba? All right, look at this. Look at the numbers. Super, kolela. Tingnan mo kung gaano kabibilis naman compared, right? My goodness. Sadness. Tayo, wala tayo dyan, hindi tayo kasali. Yan yung mga top. So why are we not surprised, right? Connectivity is a common problem dito sa Pilipinas. Numbers and data related to the internet in our nation have always lagged behind, okay? So yan, di tayo kasali dyan sa top 10. Yan ang mabibilis na speeds, okay? 34, 1099 tayo, just me, super baba. Okay? Okay, balik ko lang, ha? Tara! Tabi lang kita. Alright. Dito ka na lang. Alright? Yeah, so yeah. Huwag na tayo magtaka, right? It's always been a problem yung connectivity. Kaya nga. Pero, in fairness, bumilis-bilis. Like, pero yun na nga, napansin ko yan. When I moved here to Pampanga, ang PLDT fiber dito, parang mas mabilis at efficient. Hindi, wag naman, baka mamaya mawala na naman internet kapag sabi ko nito. Pero, in Manila, okay, siguro walang month na nakokompleto na hindi nagbabog down or namamatayan ako ng internet. Pero sandali lang, bumabalik naman lahat. Pero dito sa Pampanga, parang hindi. Tsaka mas mabilis, right? But numbers and data related to the internet in our nation have always lagged behind the rest of the world, except where selfies and social media are concerned. Mas mabilis tayo talaga nakakapag-post ng selfie natin sa Instagram or sa Facebook. Ganun kadali. As in instantaneous, as kakanyari pa lang, ayun na. Hindi na natin yan madi-deny. Kasi text capital of the world tayo. Post capital of the world na nga tayo. Right? Well, okay. Still, it looks like the current head of the Department of Information and Communications Technology, they're optimistic pa rin na mag-i-improve. Well, nag-improve naman na, pero hindi pa ganun. Kasi at saka yun nga, dito sa bansa natin, para ka magkaroon ng mas mabilis na internet, mas mahal ang babayaran mong buwan-buwan. Right? So ngayon po, without going into figures, we are not doing badly. Ito sabi ni technology head and former military officer Gringo Honasan. He said na there had been a resurgence of complaints as more and more people shift to digital during the pandemic. Things are looking especially bad as countries around us reach internet speeds of up to 55 Mbps. Tayo nga 25 Mbps, pahirapan pa to achieve, right? 55 pa kaya. Yung nga in-applyan ko na 50 Mbps ng PLDT fiber, hindi pa nila nabibigay ngayon kasi wala pa raw mesh, blah, blah, blah. Pero yesterday, nakakita ko ng mga banner, street like banners na saying na andiyan na raw yung mesh. So, kailangan ko na ulit tawagan ng PLDT para upgrade yung aking internet para ilagay na yung mesh dito sa bahay ko para I can already broadcast and work from my room upstairs. Kasi 2 floors po kasi itong aking munting tirahan. At dito sa baba, 100 Mbps speed. Pag akyat namin, 25 na lang. Hindi umaabot. So yun daw, with that mesh thing, pwede na pareho ang speed sa baba at taas ng bahay. Right? Okay. So, yun nga, dito sa Pilipinas, 3 to 5 Mbps ang na-achieve most of ang mga internet, right? technically, of course, things aren't as bad as they used to be. Based on the department's data, broadband connection can now reach up to 25.07 Mbps, much better than noong 2016 na ang maximum speed natin ay 7.91. Diyos ko naman, 2016 pa yon. Hello. Pero talaga, bumilis-bilis na naman. Compared to that, though, our neighboring countries who are now at 213 Mbps, yung Singapore, my God, fixed broadband speed of 56.43, according to the numbers presented by this report. Yun na nga our connection to China is actually very bad Kasi nagtuturo ako sa Europe, Japan, America, and lately I've been having Taiwanese students and some Chinese students before. Ang hina ng koneksyon. Hindi ko alam kung bakit, pero yun, yung ating bato ng signals sa kanila and back, mabagal, right? Meanwhile, of course, it looks like the pandemic has added to the challenge of this internet. The Philippines ranked the highest in terms of people saying they spent more time on social media during the quarantine or during this pandemic. According to the Digital 2020 April Global Statshot of data reportal, in partnership with the We Are Social and Hootsuite, that was in spite of the Philippines recording a 15% dip in mobile internet speeds, mas marami pa rin nag-social media gumamit during this pandemic. Totoo naman yun. Marami rin gumamit ng video conferencing na Zoom, right? Talaga naman. Okay? Still, our dependency on the internet continues, okay? Folks across the globe reported that the internet has become a greater part of their daily lives. Ayun na nga ang reality. This is in all honesty. Sino ba ang hindi dependent ngayon sa internet or sa technology? My goodness, nakatulong ng malaki sa ating what do you call this, sanity, ang pagiging online. Kung Diyos mio, imagine niyo kung itong pandemic na to ay nangyari 30 years ago. How are we gonna handle staying at home lang talaga and working, diba? We would have lost our jobs completely, right? Kung walang internet. Thank you na lang for technology, we are able to fend. I am able to broadcast to you today, and I'm able to work and feed my family and make my overheads because of internet and technology. Thank God for that. So, yun na nga yun. So, the Philippines has one of the highest numbers of people who expect to continue using the internet or digital with or without quarantine, even topping those of the list who wanted to stick with working from home. Pero yun na nga rin. Marami nagsasabi talaga na even after this pandemic, magko-continue pa rin na maraming work from home, right? Understandable naman, okay? Alam niyo ba yung balita, di ba yung tungkol si Liza Soberano, nag-complain siya tungkol sa internet. The recent internet fiasco with actress Liza Soberano put the service providers in a bad light, specifically for how they treat their customers. Yun na nga yun. As internet service providers stumbled over themselves to provide the popular star with fast connection, paano naman yung other paying customers, okay? Siyempre, nagselo sila dahil hindi yun. Pero hindi yun, mga kababayan, no? Sabi ko sa inyo, use the internet also to your advantage. Hindi lang porque Liza Soberano yan. All of you can put your complaints online, right? Para kayo mapansin, para kayo make it viral. Bakit? Kung may 500 friends kayo or 1,000 friends sa Facebook, makakabasa nila yan na yung complaints nyo. And isasabi nila yan sa kanilang mga network of friends. So, you too can catch the attention of Smart or Globe or PLDT or Meralco. Yan ang power ng social media, right? Because you can draw attention, you can get reactions, and you can get action because nga hindi ka pinapansin. Di ba? Ang dami nagko-complain sa interconnection or yung mga yung bad connections, di ba? Makita niyo yan, pinapost talaga. You can also get things taken care of. Like ako din, pati yung pag-shopping, nung nakabili ako ng bad meat, pinost ko yan, tapos wala pang isang araw, tumatawag na yung SM sa akin. Tapos nangyari yun yung coloring sa pagkain. Anyway, that's another story, okay? So paying customers felt jealous and sa injustice. The battle for internet connectivity has always centered around how much bandwidth you can get inevitably tied up, which is how much of this price Mbps your internet service can give. Ayun na nga, pag mas mabilis gusto mo, mas mahal, okay? Kasi sa case ni Liza Soberano, hers is at 300 Mbps, leading one to think her broadband is now faster than Singapore, right? But that is not necessarily the case. Sabi nga ni Abe Olandres, a colleague of mine sa media, sinabi niya sa Yugatech, ISPs don't work that way. Logically speaking, okay, an ISP with a capacity of say 1,000 Mbps would sell that to 10 customers at 100 per month. Okay? Tigo 100 Mbps, i-divide niya yun. Okay? Cleanly dividing the bandwidth among consumers. Unfortunately, that logic doesn't speak profit. Okay? What is more likely happening dito sa mga ISP sa Pilipinas, sabi ni Abe, is that they are overselling and underserving their bandwidth capacity. Yan na nga, see? Yan ang nangyari. As an analogy, Olandres or Abe said, compared bandwidth to a cinema screening content endlessly. Okay? There are only 1,000 seats, but an ISP would sell 2,500 tickets. Kaya bumabagal, right? The idea here is that not all who buy the tickets will enter the cinema at the same time. See, yun eh. Parang yung ISP. Adding seats are as more and more content is served, okay? The internet gets bigger. And demand grows, but only when they're assured of revenue, thus creating an endless cycle. This analogical business model is sure to be happening in other countries as well, which leads us to the question, bakit ang connection is still shitty compared, bakit pupu pa rin yung ating connection compared to other countries, right? Tsaka bakit ang mahal ng internet sa Pilipinas? Kung, ayun na nga, kung mas mabilis gusto mo, sabihin ko lang sa inyo yung difference sa PLDT fiber. Yung 1,599 is 25 Mbps. Gusto ko even 50 to 100 Mbps would be 3,000 plus na a month. Di ba? Ang laki ng diferensya, doble kaagad, right? And yun nga, yung mga business, 5,000, 7,000 a month kung binabayad. Back in the age of dial-up connections, okay, there were more than 300 independent ISPs in the country. As they gave way to DSL and wireless services, the market slimmed down to two main competitors, PLDT na lang, tsaka Globe. Wala na lahat ng iba. A third is on its way in the form of Dito. Ito may bagong player tayo sa, sa connectivity. A telco composed of Dennis Ui's Davao-based enterprise and a state-owned Chinese company, Dito, DITO, which raises questions of its own. Questionable nga ito, di ba? Ito yung sinasabing magiging kalaban ng PLDT at Globe. With most of the market served by either PLDT or Globe, the Philippines landed among the countries with the most expensive internet service. Tickets to the metaphorical cinema were included among the least affordable according to the 2020 study of Surfshark, okay? This is an online privacy platform. The Philippines ranked 82 out of 85 countries in terms of the combined price of the cheapest mobile and broadband plans available in the world. Imagine, oh my God. All the while, continuously ranking among the slowest. Slowest na tayo, meron pa sa mga pinakamahal. Well, sabi ni Gringo Anasan, he blames it on the lack of needed telecommunications infrastructure. Oh my God, right? You know, I was involved in telecoms, right? A few years ago when I had a business, and we were putting up fiber optic sites, digital loop carriers. Saka ko nakakwento yung techie issue na yan, all right? I had a bad experience with telecoms sa negosyo. But yan nga, infrastructure, telecom infrastructure. Specifically, the lack of fiber optics and towers, a recurring theme as of late. After President Rodrigo Duterte called out telcos during yung SONA niya nung last year, that Jesus in Bethlehem, quick is hard to forget. The companies came under fire yet again, but this time they had a clear answer. Duterte, according to one of his tales, warned Globe President Ernest Cu that the corporate executive would end up hanging on one of his towers if service does not improve. Tinakot na nga, di ba? To which he supposedly replied, Mayor, you cannot do that because there is no tower. The local governments are all kasi messing up here. So where will you, sabi daw niya, the local governments are all effing up. That's why. So where will you hang me? On a coconut tree? With this perspective, it all boils down to red tape and bureaucracy. A catch-22 between government and private entities. Yan na naman. Diyan ang galing yung bad experience ko sa telecom. Yung pagle-layout ng infrastructure. Dahil nga doon sa mga lagay-lagay, mga dagdag bawas at mga pera-pera na naman, kaya yung infrastructure, mabagal pa rin ang pag-usad, right? Yung asan yung mga tower, asan yung mga cell site. Dito lang sa amin sa Pampanga, my gosh, Globe does not have a signal here inside my apartment, okay, in my place, because my house, because hindi ko alam. Lalabas pa talaga ako para makapag-send ng text. Okay? Last but not the least, the NTC is operating within the confines of decades-old legislation. Okay? As the internet proved to be less of a luxury and transitioned to become a necessity now, we really need to amend the existing laws to give the Commission additional powers to respond to new challenges. Okay? Sabi ng NTC, they could only fine companies 200 as penalty for the Public Service Act of 1936. Add to that the requirement of law that an aspiring ISP must also be a telecommunications company, according to Philstar's Buchanko. And it seems even then that the process to legitimize through a congressional franchise isn't easy. It took Dito, then known as Miss Latel, more than 2 decades to finally get the ball rolling as their franchise was questioned back in 1998 to make the one-year deadline to begin operations. Magbubukas yan, nagsara yung mga digital, mga lahat, Diyos ko, okay? Okay, so that's the reason why we have slow internet in our country. But anyway, we will be talking more about long-distance learning and connection sa interconnectivity tomorrow. We will continue this episode on online education, long-distance learning tomorrow. Okay, I have a little bit more to say about it. But yan naman, umabot na tayo ulit sa end of the line ng ating programa, right? I'd like to thank, of course, information that I gathered today is from Philippine Star, and of course, yun nga, si Abe Olandres ng Yugatech, yun ang kanyang mga remarks about ISPs and interconnectivity. Thank you very much. And siguro in the next 2 weeks, babalik ang aking mga colleagues sa show para tulungan akong magbigay ng informasyon at tulong na dagdag na kaalaman tungkol sa mga bagay-bagay regarding online. My partners in business too, and also my co-broadcasters, RD and Miss Faith. They'll be back siguro in the next 2 weeks. Everybody's really been very busy. They're kasi in the academe also, and part of what they do is really fixing the online curriculums and setting up everything to make online education functional. Okay? But thank you so much for joining me today sa ating pinag-uusapan ng long distance education, na this is na talaga the new normal way of studying all over the world, and it is really, really deeply affected by the virus situation. So more on this tomorrow. Papag-usapan natin the new normal for school year 2020 to 2021. Okay? Education in the time of coronavirus here in the Philippines. Okay? We will talk more about that. So, thank you so much for joining me today. Maraming salamat sa mga nanood today at sinamahan tayo. And sana po, patuloy niyo po kaming tangkilikin ang mga programa, lahat po ng programa dito sa Broad Streamcast Communicators channel and page, which is now also on YouTube. So, of course, those who missed the live stream broadcasts on the time slots that they watch can see the past episodes also at balikan ng mga na-miss nyo na programa sa YouTube, sa Broad Streamcast Communicators YouTube page. All right. This has been Jaye Bautista, broadcasting to you through Broad Streamcast Communicators sa Buhay Online. Maraming salamat po. At ang pinag-uusapan natin po ay ang tungkol sa distance learning or studying online and blended learning din dito sa Pilipinas. At saka of course how it's affected by the pandemic, itong pag-aaral online. Okay? Thank you very much and I hope you have a good day ahead of you at magkaroon kayo ng masarap na lunch. Ang lunch ko today, ang menu ng ating resident cook and chef. Hindi ko siya pwedeng tawaging chef kasi hindi siya nag-aral ng culinary. Okay? Yan ang pagko-correct sa pagtatawag ng chef kasi ang mga chef very, sila dyan, particular about being called a chef. A chef kasi is somebody who studied how to be one. All right? But okay, but my husband dear is I think more than a chef because he is a darn good cook. Well, ang nagturo sa kanya ay buhay. Okay? Para siya maging chef. But thank you so much for joining me today and have a good day ahead of you. Thank you so much and magkita-kita tayo rin po ulit bukas. Huwag kalilimutan, Buhay Online with yours truly, Jaye Bautista. Thank you to Tita Fe Ecomo for accommodating us sa barrio yesterday. At saka Tito Jaime Lakap, thank you po. At sinama nyo kami. At nagkaroon ng masarap na tanghalian sa barrio and experience the nice barrio life. Yung anak ko, nag-enjoy naman dun sa barrio. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Inyong natunghayan at napakinggan ang mga makabagong pamamaraan sa mundo ng online sa pamamagitan pa rin ng Broad Streamcast Communicators. Hanggang sa muli, maraming salamat po.